Hey, what's up guys, Max 2015. I wanted to share some of these replays with you before they go away from my map. I'm sorry, I'm still coughing a little bit, but don't mind that. I have some pretty decent replays. I have 4 of them to be precise, to show with you guys. To show to you guys. I'm sorry, not with you guys. So the first base here is Rawdikinem. It looks like its name is. So it was a corner base. 7 ice statues, only the 2 masterpieces were boosted, but nowadays about 70% of the bases I'm spawning have 6 to 7 ice statues. That's pretty much a standard. The only thing that changes is how many statues they have boosted. So usually the masterpieces are a must, and then it depends on how many guardians they want to boost. But for this particular base, he only had the 2. And believe me, even with the 2 masterpieces boosted alone, it's still incredibly tough to take these bases down. It took me maybe like 6 and 7 tries until I could find out the exact location where I wanted to park my Zukas, which at the end turned out to be in the very corner there behind the shot launcher. So just regular type of smoke, and I guess you guys can kind of guess what kind of attack this is gonna be. I'm gonna reflare them, and I'm just gonna have the troops wear down the shield. Well, first they'll take down some of the defenses in the front first though. So flare straight to the machine gun, shock around through some critters, let the Zukas clear up all the defenses just around them, while the heavies protect. I threw a shock at the boom cannon and shock blaster because those 2 combined, they can pick up a lot of my troops very, very quickly. So I threw some more critters to distract the shock blaster and the boom cannon. Again, I didn't have enough for another shock, so I threw some critters to do. And they did the job just fine. There were still a couple of heavies left, but you can see there was a million Zukas in there still shooting at the HQ. I still had enough for a medkit, which really came in handy because the shot launcher has dropped a shock on the Zuka, so that worked out really well. So that was Rawdikinem, and then after that, Suju Feifei, which was another base that I have been having a really tough time recently. Also 7 ice statues. Again, the 2 masterpieces were boosted. This was a center layout, single shield with a shock blaster behind the HQ. So it wasn't a little difficult because the HQ was sort of closer to the beach, not so close to the back, and the shield was really far behind. So I really had to move the troops all the way to the back and then have them slowly come back down to the front. So put down all the troops in the corner, let them take out 2 of the defenses before I started flaring and smoking. I did lose a handful of Zukas in there, but whatever, I had to keep going with the attack here. It did take me many tries, mind you. So just smoking carefully. I did take out the 1 rocket launcher on the upper left there because on the previous attempts, that 1 rocket launcher ended up killing all of my Zukas, so I decided to destroy that one first rather than the one on the right side here. Right there, my smoking wasn't too on point, but I deliberately deviated the smokes a little bit to the left so they would stand behind the wood storage, because on one of the attempts when I parked them right at the corner here, all the heavies started walking down to the right side and nobody went for the shield, so I needed them to move a little bit to the left there. So this time there was a small group of Zukas that did go for the shield, and there were 4 heavies along with them to protect them. But you can see what I meant before. See that the majority of the heavies are still going down, falling down the shoreline in the bottom, which wasn't really good before. So this time I needed at least a few of those troops to move to their left side. Now I started shocking and throwing critters as much as I could to distract everything I could. The rocket launchers were doing a number on me, so I threw more critters, anything I could afford, and then I started saving the shocks for the shock blaster, boom cannons, anything that could kill my heavies. I didn't have a lot of heavies left. I did have a decent number of Zukas, but once the heavies go down, your Zukas go down along with them very quickly. So this was, I didn't want to reflare because I wanted the troops to be spread out in case the shot launchers would start shooting. Lucky for me, the Zukas down here did take out that 1 shot launcher, and I had enough for a shock to shock the 2nd shot launcher, so that was really good. But this base did take me many tries before I got it right, so finally I was happy about that. It did take me, I think, 3 days overall to take him down. I didn't want to pass him. I felt like I could beat him. I just kept on struggling with him. Next we have Rui Costa, who is a top 50 global. For this particular base, I had to reclaim one of my building health and replace it with a troop health, and then I boosted it. So that's why I have a 92% health in here. I need the extra health if I'm going to be using Scorchers. So this was a corner base against 7 ice statues, only the 2 masterpieces boost. I'm not going to say only, because the masterpieces boosted actually, make a big difference. So anyways, put the tanks first, and notice I only put down 3 Scorchers, and then that was on purpose. First, because I wanted to save some gunboat energy so I could take down the 1 boom cannon on the right side there, and that one's gonna need an extra shot. But I also wanted to save 1 Scorcher so that at the end I will have a Scorcher with fresh health, because by the time I got to the end in the previous attempts, all my Scorchers were just about done, and then they would die at the very end, and my tanks would start falling right after those. So this time I saved 1 Scorcher for the end there, and you'll see it. So I'll just let the troops start eating the base from the left side. Careful with the boom cannons. I kept on shocking, throwing critters, anything I could to distract them, while the tanks were doing all the damage. The Scorchers, surprisingly, do have they do have a lot of health. Well, not surprisingly, I mean, that's what they're for. So they were just serving as a great shield for the tanks there. So throw some critters and to distract the boom cannon. I needed the tanks to move in a little bit more so they could take out that shot launcher in the middle. Once that one went down, I'll flare to the left just to regather all the troops. I did have most of my tanks, so which was key. Right there goes the last Scorcher. See, I had already lost 2 Scorchers, and the third one had just a little bit of health left, so it was very important to have 1 Scorcher with full health by the time we can go a little bit quicker here. It's just so slow. So critters to distract the cannons, reflare right about there. See that the third Scorcher just went down, so now I'm only left with 1 Scorcher that has full health, and that 1 Scorcher did a really good job. It took at least 4 shots from that cannon and 2 more from the boom cannon, so it did take a lot of heat from the defenses, which bought me a lot of time because the tanks were just taking down more and more defenses, and that kind of got me more and more gunboat energy. I did shock the boom cannon just to prolong the health on that Scorcher just a little bit longer, because there was another boom cannon and a shot launcher at the very end there, so I needed to save my shocks. So I did that on purpose. You'll see them. I need those tanks to start taking out that the boom cannon. They'll go down very quickly right there. The Scorcher will die, leaving me with all the tanks, but lucky for me, I still had a decent amount of gunboat energy, so I just needed them to take out the flamethrower, the machine guns, which are not a threat to tanks. The rocket launcher, however, was a problem. And then the shot launcher was the worst part. We're going to go maybe 2 times the speed because not a lot to see here. The shot launcher will keep on shooting, and then I'll shock it. And then I just flare straight to the HQ. At this point, I was kind of, counting to be hoping to be a little lucky because I didn't have any more gunboat energy for anything, except for that 1 barrage. But you can see the shot launcher was just shocking, and the boom cannon started picking off my tank. So I did get a little bit lucky, but overall it was a good attack. It was 7 ice statues. Rui Costa is a top 40, global number 48, I think he is. And then Zekek was the last base I beat so far with TRM. He did have 6 ice statues, 5 of them boosted, which is quite a lot. The only reason why I decided to attack this base, ordinarily I wouldn't do it with this troop, but it's because of the position of his boom cannon. So nothing new about the way I deployed the troops. I did dump all of my gunboat energy on that boom cannon and shot launcher. But the key here was this boom cannon up here. It was so far from the HQ that I didn't have to worry about him. So I had to deal only with 4 boom cannons rather than all 5, and that's the only reason why I was able to defeat this base. So you can see the tanks are doing a good job at eating on the base. Also, it did help me that there were no splash damage defenses in the front, so my rifles actually lasted a really long time, and that was also key to beating this base. So threw some critters to distract those cannons on the left side, which they did a really great job. I flashed straight to the boom cannon in the front there, and then I shocked it, of course, let the tanks just clear them out, and then after that we started going to the left wall, which is something that I always do when I use TRM. Man, this cough is killing me. Every night it just wakes me up. Anyhow, so we moved to the left wall. There were no defenses just yet, so I was able to get a little bit more gunboat energy, and then I'll throw some critters to distract the cannon in the front there. Right there goes the box of critters. The cannon turns, which is perfect, and then my tanks will have enough time to take it down. The rocket launcher, I'm not too concerned with it. Right there goes the tank. I'm sorry, the cannon. And then they start eating a few more of these defenses. I did throw a shock, but that was a bit premature. I kind of got scared when I saw that boom cannon turn, but it had turned to the critters, not to the tanks. So right there, let them take down a few more. At this point, I had a pretty decent amount of gunboat energy, so I could, you know, let my tanks take out some of those extra buildings around. And then they naturally just moved in front of the boom cannon, and they took him out before it came out of the shot. Then flared down to a safe spot, and right here, only the rocket launchers were hitting me, but we can go 2 times the speed, and you see what I meant by me not having to deal with that last boom cannon in there. So that's the only reason why I went in. If this cannon was right next to the HQ, there's no way I could have been in this base, because by the time I take out that cannon, I would have lost another half of my tanks. And I mean, his shield had a ton of health, so I don't think I could have taken him down. But lucky for me, it did work out like this. So, you know, I'm pretty glad. Zakek is global number 6 right now, I think, with 1994 victory point, 93 victory points. So that's a lot of victory points, but he's pretty up there. Also, if I have time, yeah, this video is not too long, so I'm gonna also drop in another attack when I beat Ouyang Shenduo, who is the US number 3. So watch that, enjoy it, and then I'll end the video. Okay, guys? On Ouyang Shenduo, he's in the US leaderboard. He's number 3 in the US. He was a former number 1 in the US. This attack only took me 2 tries. I fell 1 time here. This one I deployed, but nothing happened. And I got him on the 2nd try with TGRM, which is pretty crazy. 4 statues boosted, of course. Double shield generator, 7 ice statues, masterpieces boosted. I cannot believe this is the very first time I use TGRM for a double shield. So the fact that it worked just completely amazed me. But we can talk a little bit about it. So put the tanks first, and then the grenadiers behind them, and then dump all of my gunboat energy on the first shot launcher and boom cannon on the bottom there. A few things on this particular layout that kind of work for me, so I'm not gonna say this strategy is really OP, but I drew some critters to distract the boom cannon, which they did really nicely. And see, one flaw in here, I was able to shock the shot launcher and 2 boom cannons with 1 shock in there, so that worked really well to my advantage. Right there, I did it again, and you know, all the meanwhile the grenadiers are just doing work on the base. I did put down the rifles at this point because of all the cannons that were up here, all the single shots. So I threw some critters also. They're probably gone by now. I did lose 1 tank though, unfortunately, but still, I wasn't too sure what to do with this base. I kind of just went in to see what would happen, but it actually worked out really, really well. You can see, fled them to the left side, threw 2 smokes, let them gather up. You can see how all the rifles are starting to walk right in front of the troops. That's exactly what I wanted. Lucky for me, no one stepped out, unlike Cryoneers, because they always walk out. Once the smoke cleared, I didn't really have to worry much because the cannons, everything was going to be targeting the rifles, and that's exactly what they're for. I did throw a med kit to try to prolong the life of the rifles because there were 2 rocket launchers, and these are boosted rocket launchers, so my rifles weren't going to last too long. I just needed them to last long enough to take the hits from the big shots. I finished the boom cannon, the 3rd boom cannon there, or 4th boom cannon, with 2 artillery shells. And at this point, what do we have? We still have 2 tanks left. I think we did finish this with 2 tanks. So right there, a big chunk of the troops started going for the HQ or the defenses around the HQ. And again, I mean, I haven't used Grenadiers TGRM for a real base in the longest time because it really doesn't work at this level anymore. But man, I love how Grenadiers can clear all the defenses that are behind the HQ, so you don't have to worry about them. So in here, the one tank in the top there was going to go 1-to-1 against the sniper tower, but it was actually dying, so I had to reflare them down. Lucky for me, you see all the Grenadiers clear all the defenses around them, so there was absolutely nothing that could shoot us. I mean, there were 2 rocket launchers shooting at me, and you can see my troops are actually kind of dying. I did lose a couple more Grenadiers, so I threw a med kit. Even though I had 10 medics working on these Grands, they still died because those were 2 boosted rocket launchers shooting on me. So anyways, I flared them a little bit closer because with Grenadiers, you need to have them closer to the target so they can do maximum damage. The other thing that worked out really well for me, lucky for me though, well, first, he only had 2 out of the 7 statues boosted, so that's a big plus for me already. The second thing is that the 2nd shield, notice here, this is just a shield generator 2. If it was a shield generator 3, I'm not sure my troops would have been able to wear it down. The one up here, that was a shield generator 3, but that one we took down first. So if the second shield was also level 3, I'm not sure if we'd have had enough time to wear it down. But I mean, maybe, I'm not sure. It would have been really hard to tell. But man, did this strategy work really well. We can just go quicker here because not much to see. Just watch it, 2 tanks and the grenadiers wear down the base. But yeah, you know, even at this level, it really did work, and I was really surprised. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, okay, guys? So back to the other one. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm Max2015. Keep on booming. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.